This man moved a large boulder aside. A deep pit was revealed beneath the ground. Jack quickly took off his pants. Then he sat over the opening of the pit. But just as he was relieving himself, he suddenly heard footsteps behind him. Several strangers were rapidly approaching him. A wave of panic instantly washed over him. In this post-apocalyptic world, humans were the most dangerous creatures of all. Jack did not dare waste a single second. He knew exactly what would happen if he got caught, so he ran like a wild horse set free. Soon he arrived at a small wooden cabin. He hurriedly gathered some nearby plants and spread them around the entrance as camouflage. Then he slipped inside and hid. Jack was extremely nervous. He did not know whether he had already been discovered. 10 years had passed since the apocalypse began. Food could no longer be found anywhere. The only thing left to eat was other human beings. Terrified by those ruthless people, he stumbled and fell to the ground. His father noticed his fear. Through a narrow crack, he saw armed men heading straight toward the cabin. His entire body instantly tensed up. They had to leave this hiding place immediately. Seeing the fear on his father's face, Emma, who was lying on the bed, also prepared to flee. Only Jack remained standing there in a daze, completely unsure of what to do, until a backpack was thrown at him. Only then did he snap back to reality and hurriedly help his father pack their supplies. Moments later, his father kicked open the emergency exit. The three of them quietly left the cabin, but the danger was far from over. If they made even the slightest sound, they would become those people's next meal. Therefore they moved with extreme caution, but this also slowed them down, especially because his father was carrying the weak Emma. His father understood in his heart that they would be discovered sooner or later. The sound of a door being smashed soon reached their ears. All three of them were pushed to the limit of their fear. This was the greatest crisis they had ever faced. Emma was already close to collapsing. Every step she took drained the last of her strength. His father made a cruel decision. Since escape was impossible, he would stay behind. He hid Jack and Emma inside a septic pit, preparing to trade his own life for his son's chance to survive. Then the man rushed out without hesitation. At first he was able to hold off the enemies. He even managed to injure one of them, but as time passed, his strength gradually ran out. From inside the pit, Jack watched his father's throat being slit. Then something even more horrifying happened. Those people treated his body like butchered livestock. Jack could no longer suppress the fear in his heart because he knew what would happen next. Just as they were preparing to leave, the leader sensed that something was wrong. He looked down and noticed a suspicious opening in the ground, hiding at the bottom of the pit. Jack held his breath. He knew exactly who these people were. They were a group of vicious cannibals. The cautious leader grabbed the cover and desperately tried to pull it open. Jack pushed against the wooden lid with all his strength. No matter how hard the leader pulled, the cover did not move at all. But this only made the leader more curious. He crouched down and leaned closer to investigate. The next second, the foul stench made tears stream from his eyes. It was that horrible smell that saved Jack and Emma. After returning to the cabin, Jack placed Emma on the bed. He felt her life slipping away little by little, so he lifted her clothes. The wound had never healed. The filthy water and harsh environment had made the situation even worse. Now the wound had turned black and become infected. If she did not receive treatment, there was absolutely no way she would survive. But they had already used up all of their antibiotics. However, there was still one final hope. While hiding in the pit, Jack had seen the leader secretly put away a box of antibiotics. That medicine was Emma's last hope. Without it, death would be unavoidable. Watching Emma suffer in agony, a terrified Jack faced a difficult choice. He gently adjusted Emma's head and picked up the pillow beside her, trying to gather the courage to end her suffering. But she was his last remaining family member. He hesitated. In the end, he could not bring himself to do it. Love overcame reason. He abandoned that cruel decision. But what else could he do? Jack fell completely into confusion. Then he made a decision that even surprised himself, because in the apocalypse, only the strong could survive. He would fight his way to the very top of the food chain. After covering the cabin with branches once again, he set out to seize the antibiotics from the cannibals. Only then could Emma survive. This mission was destined to involve bloodshed, and his chances of surviving were extremely slim. But Jack had no other choice. Doing nothing was the same as waiting to die. Now he was fighting for Emma, and also fighting for the last of his dignity. His thin clothes were no match for the bitter cold. He gritted his teeth and kept moving forward, following the group's footprints all the way. Jack knew he was getting closer and closer to his target, but his body temperature kept dropping. Before long, he could no longer keep walking, and collapsed heavily onto the frozen ground. His vision began to blur. Hunger and cold attacked him at the same time. He knew he could not hold on much longer. In the depths of despair, he saw a figure appear in the distance, so he dragged his exhausted body and followed it. The child ahead sensed that something was wrong. Although he was only 6 years old, he already understood how cruel this world was. But by then, it was too late to run. Jack would not give up any chance to survive. He followed the child all the way to the end, and discovered an old man named George and his grandson Tommy. He kicked open the iron door, and stripped the warm clothing from George, who was lying in bed, taking all the useful supplies, without caring whether they could still survive. Jack turned and left. His heart was filled with guilt, but he no longer had the luxury of being soft-hearted. Not long afterward, he discovered fresh tracks left by the group in the forest, but the scene before him left him stunned. A charred skeleton lay beside a campfire. He immediately understood what had happened, so that his father's remains would not be left in the wilderness. He buried the body as quickly as possible. He had already lost one family member. He could not lose Emma as well. The most important thing now was to find those bandits and take back the medicine no matter the cost. Soon he discovered another campfire and realized that he had gone off course. If he continued wasting time, he would only get farther and farther from his target. Driven by desperation, he climbed a tall tree. When he reached the top, the view suddenly opened up before him. Jack saw smoke rising in the distance, and excitement instantly surged through him. But in the very next second,